Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good afternoon. The devotional today will be led by Representative Troy Hedrick of Burlington.
Good afternoon. And happy May Day, also known, of course, as International Workers' Day. A day to honor labor and those who precede us who fought so hard for the rights of workers and for working conditions that we now so often take for granted. The Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us, and I'm paraphrasing here, to be mindful of your non-toothache, to practice gratitude for just when things are going fine. Be mindful of your non-toothache. So on behalf of the Working Vermonters Caucus, if you're grateful to not be working this weekend, and not all of us will have that luxury, or if you're grateful that your kids aren't working in a factory or a field, or if you're grateful for an 8-hour workday, and as I say that, I think about our state workers who so consistently are working 16-hour days at a time. But if you find that gratitude, maybe thank a labor advocate today. They're actually all over the place. And while we're at it, let's take a deliberate moment to feel the gratitude for our migrant laborers who keep Vermont's agricultural industry moving, the construction industry, food service, elder care, and the rest of the invisible economy that we all rely on. And this is why I'm here. Today, May Day also lands on the first Thursday of May, which also means that today is the National Day of Reason. It's a big day for an atheist union guy. Big day. So today, in celebration of secularism, in celebration of humanism, in celebration of atheism, I'm pleased to share with you my favorite essay by Carl Sagan. Here's the setup. It was 1990, and Sagan had arranged for Voyager 1 to snap a photo of home, of Earth, from 4 billion miles away. And if you search for Carl Sagan's pale blue dot, you're going to see that image. Earth doesn't even span the width of a pixel on that photo. As he describes it, just a fleck of dust suspended in a sunbeam. With that image in mind, Sagan reflected as follows. Look at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever lived out their lives on that dot. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother, every father, every hopeful child, every inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors so that in a glory and triumph they could become a momentary master of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable corner of another portion of that pixel. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic darkness. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve the cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. Carl Sagan.
Members, we have one House bill for introduction today. House Bill 514 is an act relating to the procedures governing the change of a minor's legal name, introduced by Representative Lalonde of South Burlington. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 514, an act relating to the procedures governing the change of a minor's legal name.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Government Operations and Military Affairs. We have a bill on the notice calendar requiring referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A. Senate Bill 117 is an act relating to rulemaking on safety and health standards and technical corrections on employment practices and unemployment compensation. Carrying an appropriation, the bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriations. Members, earlier today, the Committee on Environment voted out favorable with an amendment, House Bill 230, which is an act relating to the management of fish and wildlife. Affecting the revenue of the state, the bill is referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, pending its action on the notice calendar. Members, we received a request to read a House concurrent resolution that the House and Senate adopted pursuant to the consent calendar. HCR 102 is a House concurrent resolution congratulating the 2024 8-10 Colchester All-Star Vermont Championship Little League Baseball team. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas for the 2024 8-10 Colchester All-Star Little League Baseball team, the phrases "come from behind" and "never say no" ring true. And whereas this fine squad of young players had previously proven their dedication to the game of baseball upon being selected as All-Stars. And whereas Colchester's first challenge was to advance in the District 1 competition, in which the team twice defeated its rival contender, Camel's Hump, 21-8, and then 10-4 for the divisional title, notwithstanding two earlier Camel's Hump victories over Colchester. And whereas in the state championship contest, Colchester was matched against the host Brattleboro team, and in the bottom of the seventh of a scheduled 7-inning contest with 2 outs, no runners on base, and trailing 4-2, Colchester ignited an unanticipated offensive spree, scoring 3 successive and decisive runs, triumphantly departing the diamond as the 5-4 game winner and the 2024 8-10 Vermont Little League champion. And whereas Colchester represented Vermont admirably at the New England Regional Little League Baseball Tournament played in Rhode Island, and whereas the proud Colchester All-Star Little League players were Bowden Carney, Grayson Carey, Elliot Cote, Hayden Critchlow, Weston Ellingston, Willie LaMarche, Grayson Mead, Keegan Norris, Oliver Willett, Easton Pratt, Toby Schick, and Jensen Yelk. And whereas head coaches Brennan Carney, Ty Pratt, and Jason Yelk served as outstanding mentors and teachers for the team. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly congratulates the 2024 8-10 Colchester All-Star Vermont Championship Little League Baseball team, and be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to the 8-10 Colchester All-Star Vermont Little League Baseball team.
Are there any announcements? Member from Colchester.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. 1 second. Sorry. Just have to get back. Last summer was an exciting and unexpected journey for the Colchester Little League All-Stars. The path to the regionals in Rhode Island began for this very inexperienced group at South Park in Burlington for the districts. After losing in the first round of the tournament, they went on to beat the undefeated Lamoille team twice to reach the state tournament. In similar fashion, they once again found their way into the losers bracket, only to beat Brattleboro in extra innings, crossing the plate in the bottom of the seventh in a walk-off fashion to take the state championship 5-4. This entire experience was one of extreme ups and downs, but now they can say they are the first ever Colchester 8, 9, and 10-year-old team to ever have made it to the regional tournament. In regionals, they represented Vermont honorably, ending the tournament with a 1-3 record. However, one of those losses was to the eventual regional champions, Rhode Island Little League All-Stars, in extra innings. It was a long and exciting summer for this young group of players that they will never forget. Colchester could not be more proud of this team that demonstrated their grit, determination, and teamwork to reach this level of competition. Please welcome the 8, 9, and 10-year-old Colchester Little League All-Stars and their coaches.
Will the guest of the member from Colchester please rise and be recognized? Member from Montpelier.
Madam Speaker, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm the member from Chittenden during Final Four weekend. I'm so excited because this is the day we honor the workers of the world. This is the day we hopefully make history on this House floor. And I am excited because I have the honor to welcome to this chamber a national leader who has spent her career standing up for working people. That is an individual who was forged in the labor movement, Liz Shuler, the president of the AFL-CIO. President Shuler is the first woman to lead the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations, which represents 12 million working people across this country. She is a trailblazer, tireless advocate for fairness, safety, and dignity on the job, values that align closely with us here in Vermont. From electricians to nurses to teachers and postal workers, the labor movement continues to be the backbone of our democracy, and President Shuler has helped lead it with courage, compassion, and a clear-eyed focus on the future of work. She is on the front lines down in Washington, D.C., when we fight for our very existence as a labor movement. So, Madam Speaker, I would ask the body to please give her a warm Vermont welcome as she visits the Golden Dome today.
Will the guest of the member from Montpelier please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Charlotte.
Madam Speaker, the member from Cambridge has a birthday today, and we are lucky to have her in this room. We're lucky to have her on committee, and I'm lucky to have her as a friend.
Happy birthday, member. Are there any further announcements? Member from Williston.
Thank you. On behalf of the member from Richmond and I would like to welcome our UVM intern, Katie Irby, who comes all the way from California. She's done fantastic work for us this semester, and we particularly appreciate her passion and commitment to climate change and energy policy in our state.
Will the guest of the member from Williston please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Montpelier.
Madam Speaker, I continue to be so excited that I had to stand up a second time. And today, I would also like to recognize some of the hardest working public servants in our state, the board of the Vermont State Employees Association. It's my former employer, too. So for over 75 years, VSEA has been a voice for the women and men who keep our state running, from correctional facilities to our roads, our state offices, and to our public safety departments. The members of this board are elected by their peers to advocate for fair treatment, safe working conditions, and respect of the vital services that state workers provide every day. We owe them our gratitude, not just for their work, but for their commitment to strengthening Vermont and all its residents. So I'd ask you to welcome them today.
Will the guest of the member from Montpelier please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Springfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have with us today two firefighter EMTAs from Springfield. They're here to attend a Senate committee meeting concerning the PFAS bill in personal protective equipment and stationwear. They are Jenna Brown and Ryan Merrill. I would ask that you welcome them to the People's House. They're seated in the balcony.
Will the guest and the member from Springfield please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements, member from Burlington?
Madam Speaker, I'm really thrilled to announce on this International Workers' Day, May Day, that we have some of the hardest working Vermonters here in the State House with us today. I'd like to introduce the president of the Vermont Professional Firefighters and the treasurer and secretary of the Professional Firefighters of Vermont, who are both with us today, Chris Doobie and Willa Liberty.
Will the guest and the member from Burlington please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Essex.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to remind folks that today is a day of action for all kinds of workers in the state, and migrant workers are celebrating and observing their day of action by getting in on the action. And so I stand with migrant workers, and if anybody is able to, get over to Williston near the Hannafords, where they will be having a day of action.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, orders of the day. Members, I have an update to the action calendar. We will begin with Proposal 3, that will go first, and then we will continue in the order already in the calendar with 505, JRS 15, House Bill 218. With that, we'll begin with Proposal 3, which is a proposal amendment to the Constitution of the State of Vermont, providing a right to collectively bargain. Pursuant to Chapter 2, Section 72 of the Vermont Constitution, we are now in the second biennium of consideration of this constitutional proposal. This biennium, the Senate adopted the constitutional proposal in concurrence with the preceding General Assembly and by the Vermont Constitution. In order for this constitutional proposal to be submitted to the voters of the state, the House must also adopt this constitutional proposal in concurrence by a majority of the House, which means a majority of a House quorum. Pursuant to House Rule 51, Proposal 3 was referred to the Committee on General and Housing, which held a public hearing on this proposal, and the committee recommends that the constitutional proposal be adopted in concurrence. The member from South Burlington, Representative Krasna, will speak for the committee. Please listen to the reading of the constitutional proposal.
Proposal 3, Section 1, Purpose. This proposal would amend the Constitution of the State of Vermont to provide that the citizens of the state have a right to collectively bargain. Section 2, Article 23 of Chapter 1 of the Vermont Constitution is added to read, Article 23, Right to collectively bargain. That employees have a right to organize or join a labor organization for the purpose of collectively bargaining with their employer through an exclusive representative of their choosing for the purpose of negotiating wages, hours, and working conditions, and to protect their economic welfare and safety in the workplace. Therefore, no law shall be adopted that interferes with, negates, or diminishes the right of employees to collectively bargain with respect to wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment and workplace safety, or that prohibits the application or execution of an agreement between an employer and a labor organization representing the employees that requires membership in the labor organization as a condition of employment. Section 3, Effective Date. The amendment set forth in this proposal shall become a part of the Constitution of the State of Vermont on the first Tuesday after the first Monday of November 2026, when ratified and adopted by the people of this state in accordance with the provisions of 17 VSA Chapter 32.
Now the member from South Burlington.
Madam Speaker, Proposal 3 is a proposed constitutional amendment. If passed today, will provide workers the opportunity to vote to enshrine the right for workers to organize, collectively bargain, and protect themselves from laws that undermine these rights. PR3 ensures that Vermont's current labor rights remain intact and are not eroded by future political actions to the greatest extent allowed by state law. I would like to remind this body that PR3 passed unanimously in the Senate this year and by an overwhelming margin in the House last year. For many of us, it may seem unthinkable that Vermont would undermine the right to organize. Yet, many states who once thought the same have seen those rights under attack. States like Wisconsin, Michigan, Missouri, and New Hampshire, for example, never imagined that their workers' basic rights would be stripped away, but they were proven wrong. I also want to remind the body that much like our Reproductive Freedom Amendment, which ensures choice without mandating a specific action, PR3 does not automatically make every worker in Vermont a union member. Instead, it locks in place the statutory rights we currently have to form a union, ensuring that these processes remain accessible. And just like that recently passed amendment, our vote today only moves this question to the voters of our state. It will be Vermonters who collectively decide whether this proposal becomes a part of our Constitution. For those who doubt the seriousness of this attack on working people, I would point to the multiple legal challenges that have been raised in recent years. There are current efforts to gut the National Labor Relations Act, a federal law that has been in effect since 1935, which governs workers' rights to organize. Some may ask, why should we care? The compelling testimony we heard in committee on PR3 provides us with an answer. Nurses, construction workers, state employees, firefighters, laborers, and many others testified about how the ability to organize and form a union had a tremendously positive impact on their lives. We also heard from individuals in other states who shared the devastating effects that the erosion of these rights had on workers. In fact, 9 states have already enshrined in their constitutions provisions that weaken labor rights, undermining working people. When labor rights are eroded, the consequences extend beyond workers. We see a negative impact on economic vitality and the overall health and welfare of citizens. Madam Speaker, may I quote from a 2021 report by the Economic Policy Institute?
You may.
Unions are not only good for workers, they're good for communities and for democracy. there is a correlation between higher levels of unionization in states and a range of economic, personal, and democratic well-being measures. In the same way unions give workers a voice at work, they also give workers a voice in shaping their communities. Where workers have this power, states have more equitable economic structures, social structures, and democracies. Some may ask, would Vermont be the first to do this? The answer is no. We heard compelling testimony from witnesses in Illinois, which passed a similar constitutional amendment in 2022. Illinois, like Vermont, never thought there would be an effort to undermine workers' rights. But after the election of a governor who didn't campaign on attacking workers, he made it his mission to roll back labor protections. In response, Illinois passed a bipartisan constitutional amendment to protect workers' rights. Since then, Illinois has not experienced significant disruption in labor organizing. Madam Speaker, may I quote Sean Stott, a representative of a 50,000-member labor organization that worked on the Illinois amendment?
You may.
Since the Workers' Rights Amendment became part of the Illinois Constitution, none of the criticisms of its opponents have come to bear. Workers have not been automatically admitted into unions. Organizing among state and local government employees has not increased dramatically. Businesses continue to invest in Illinois, including 2 private sector investments totaling nearly $7 billion, which will create more than 5,000 jobs. Despite concerns raised before the Illinois amendment passed, those fears have not come to fruition. Notably, no organizations have spoke out against the passage of PR3 during our committee process. In contrast, numerous witnesses have shared how codifying our current statutory rights would send a strong message to Vermont workers that we value their right to choose and that we are committed to protecting those rights for future generations. Madam Speaker, I will now walk you through the proposal. Section 1, purpose. This proposal would amend the Constitution of the state of Vermont to provide that the citizens of the state have a right to collectively bargain. Section 2, Article 23, right to collectively bargain, that employees have a right to organize or join a labor organization for the purpose of collectively bargaining with their employee through an exclusive representative of their choosing for the purpose of negotiating wages, hours, and working conditions, and to protect their economic welfare and safety in the workplace. Therefore, no law shall be adopted that interferes with, negates, or diminishes the right of employees to collectively bargain with respect to wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment and worker safety, or that prohibits the application of an agreement between an employer and a labor organization representing the employer's employees that requires membership in the labor organization as a condition of employment. Effective date. The amendment set forth in the proposal shall be part of the Constitution of the State of Vermont on the first Tuesday after the first Monday of the November 2026, when ratified and adopted by the people of the state in accordance with the provisions of 17 VSA Chapter 32, Section 1. We heard from the following witnesses: President, Professional Firefighters of Vermont, General Counsel, Vermont National Education Association, lobbyist, Working Vermont, Director of Government Affairs, Laborers International Union of North America, Midwest Region, Legislative Council, Office of Legislative Counsel. Madam Speaker, your General and Housing Committee passed this on a vote of 10-1-0. I urge my colleagues to vote in favor of PR3 to protect Vermont's workers and ensure that future generations will have the right to organize and bargain collectively. Thank you. And Madam Speaker, I ask that when the vote is taken, it be taken by roll.
The member from South Burlington requests that when the vote is taken, it be taken by roll. Is the member sustained? The member is sustained. When the vote is taken, it will be taken by roll. The question is, shall the House adopt the constitutional proposal in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, again, on May Day, International Workers' Day, I am so honored that we get to vote together on this constitutional amendment. We've come a long way since 1866, when workers in the United States did not have the right to unionize, and we saw mass movement in our country for an 8-hour workday. It then resulted in riots in Chicago, where workers unfortunately were killed advocating for their own rights. It took another 50 years in this country before our workers in the United States were granted the right to collectively bargain. And I'm just overwhelmed by the fact that Vermont would put into our own constitution the right, protecting the right of workers to collectively bargain in our state.
The question is, shall the House adopt the constitutional proposal in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, I just want to take another moment to acknowledge the historical significance of this moment in our history by giving us just a short story about the struggles of our ancestors. 99 years ago, my grandmother worked in a mill in New Jersey, and the mill workers went on strike in what's known as the 1926 Passaic textile strike. This strike began on January 25th, 1926. It lasted until March 1st, 1927. The workers involved, there were 15,000 wool and silk workers in and around Passaic, New Jersey, and they mobilized when their pay was cut by 10%. I heard stories growing up from my grandmother about the conditions that they lived in. I remember one day there were many fires, and where I grew up, things exploded a lot. And one day there was a fire and she wanted us to go see it, and I didn't understand, and we drove to the site of the fire, and there were hundreds of elderly women dancing together and celebrating, and she got out and joined them. And afterwards I asked her why, and she said, because that place was evil, the place that was burning. And she told me stories about what happened there. And I didn't realize the significance of the strike she was involved in until I was much older. This was the first strike in US history that involved the Communist Party, the International Workers of the World, but they also worked with the American Federation of Labor. And the strike is most notable for the use of force against demonstrators, that there were thousands of women and children, and she told me stories of this, who would stand between the men and the police and would get beat down every day. And then where she lived, it was mostly Sicilian and Black people, because this dye mill, the men would have to stand up to their knees in chemicals that would rot the skin off their legs. But she said every day, this is the only mill that didn't cave in the strike. What got them through it was the women from these families would cook and serve. Everyone would come together as a community to eat together, and that helped them get through the strike. But the conditions that they were under were horrific. The use of force against the demonstrators was horrific. The debate over free speech, local municipalities banned picketing, implemented martial law to try to control these strikers. So I share all this because we should never have to go through this again. After 100 years, we've gotten to a point in history where, because of the struggle of our ancestors, people recognize the importance of unions and collective bargaining, and it is time that we bake this into the foundation of our democracy so that future generations never have to go through what the ancestors did, to have rights for livable wages, healthy working conditions, and respect in their workplace. So I thank members for their support of this amendment.
The question is, shall the House adopt the constitutional proposal in concurrence? Member from Northfield.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I strongly support the right to union, to negotiate, and all of the comments that have been made thus far. I do have some reticence, and there hasn't been a focus on the last line of the clause, and that is about the right to require membership as a condition of employment. And it's a challenging issue for me because I completely understand how allowing employees who do not wish to participate can really disempower the ability of a union to be effective. But on the other hand, to not allow it disempowers the individual who does not want to choose to be a part of a union. I struggle with that issue, but ultimately, Madam Speaker, in terms of this proposed amendment to the Constitution, that will be the decision of the voters of Vermont. I hope that there will be robust engagement on all of the issues, and I do support moving this proposal forward. Thank you.
Member from St. Albans City.
Well, the member from Northfield might have been reading my mind a little bit, and I emphatically support the right to organize and bargain collectively. But I also, it's really about a freedom of action. But I also support freedom of action for an individual who doesn't want to be a member of a union as a condition of employment. And regardless of stated intent, the way Prop 3 reads, particularly toward the end, it would imply that one may be compelled to join a union when they didn't want to. And so I don't support the proposition as written accordingly.
The question is, shall the House adopt the constitutional amendment in concurrence? Member from Montpelier.
Madam Speaker, this proposal is not radical, it's righteous. It's a declaration that in Vermont, the dignity of work includes the right to organize, to bargain, to build power together. These rights are under attack across our country, but not here, not in Vermont. If we truly believe in democracy, it can't stop at the ballot box. It has to exist in the break room, on the job site, and at the negotiating table. So we have a chance to be bold, to be clear, to put workers in the Constitution where they belong.
The question is, shall the House adopt the constitutional proposal in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, will the clerk please call the roll?
Arsenault of Williston.
2 minutes. Will the House please come to order? Will the House please come to order? Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? I would like to remind members that we are in the middle of a roll call vote. Members and guests are prohibited from using computers, phones, or any type of an electronic device. Please refrain from the passing of notes and conversation during a roll call. When the clerk calls your name, please answer in a loud and clear voice so the clerk can accurately record your votes. The question is, shall the House adopt the constitutional proposal in concurrence? Will the clerk please continue to call the roll?
Austin of Colchester. Bailey of Hyde Park. Bartholomew of Heartland. Bartley of Fairfax. Rebecca of Winooski. Byrong of Virgins. Bishop of Colchester. Black of Essex. Bloomley of Burlington. Boslin of Westminster. Bosch of Clarendon. Booton of Berry City. Boyden of Cambridge. Brady of Williston. Brannigan of Georgia. Brown of Richmond. Burdett of West Rutland. Burke of Brattleboro. Burkhardt of South Burlington. Burrows of West Windsor. Burt of Cabot. Campbell of St. Johnsbury. Canfield of Fairhaven. Carrie Duncan of Whitingham. Casey of Montpelier. Casey of Hubbardton. Chapin of East Montpelier. Charlton of Chester. Christie of Hartford. Sheena of Burlington. Coffin of Cavendish. Cole of Hartford. Conlon of Cornwall. Cooper of Pownell. Corcoran of Bennington. Cordes of Bristol. Critchlow of Colchester. Tamara of Venusburg. Dickinson of St. Albans Town. Dobrovich of Williamstown. Dodge of Essex. Dolan of Essex Junction. Dolgan of St. Johnsbury. Donahue of Northfield. Duke of Burlington. Durfee of Shaftesbury. Eastus of Guilford. Emmons of Springfield. Feltus of Linden. Galfetti of Berry Town. Garifano of Essex. Goldman of Rockingham. Goodnow of Brattleboro. Ghostland of Northfield. Granting of Jericho. Greer of Bennington. Gregoire of Fairfield. Hengo Brickshear. Harpole Glover. Harrison of Chittenden. Harvey of Castleton. Hedrick of Burlington. Higley of Lowell. Holcomb of Norwich. Hooper of Randolph. Hooper of Burlington. Houghton of Essex Junction. Howard of Rutland City. Holland of Rutland Town. Hunter of Manchester. James of Manchester. Kosenska of Burke. Keyser of Rutland City. Kimball of Woodstock. Klepner of Burlington. Kornheiser of Brattleboro. Krasnow, South Burlington. Labor of Morgan. Lally of Shelburne. Lalone of South Burlington. Lamont of Morristown. LaRush of Franklin. Lipsky of Stowe. Logan of Burlington. Long and Newfane. Uno of St. Albans City. McGuire of Rutland City. Malay of Pittsford. Marcotte of Coventry. Maslin of Thetford. McCann of Montpelier. McCoy of Pulteney. McFawn of Berrytown. McGill of Bridgeport. Mickless of Milton. Mahali of Callis. Minier of South Burlington. Morganella Milton. Morgan Emma Milton. Morse Springfield. Morrissey of Bennington. Mora of Weston. Rowicki of Putney. Nelson of Derby. Nielsen of Brandon. Niagara of Bennington. North of Ferrisburg. Noyes of Wolcott. Nugent of South Burlington. O'Brien of Tunbridge. Odie Burlington. Oliver of Sheldon. Olson of Starksboro. Page of Newport City. Parsons of Newberry. Pezzo of Colchester. Pincenot of Dorset. Pouch of Heinsberg. Powers of Waterford. Priestley of Bradford. Pritchard of Pollitt. Quimby of Linden. Rachelson of Burlington. Sakowitz of Randolph. Shia of Middlebury. Sheldon of Middlebury. Sibilia of Dover. Southworth of Walden. Squirrel of Underhill. Steady of Milton. Stevens of Waterbury. Stone of Burlington. Supernaut of Arnard. Sweeney of Shelburne. Taglavia Corinth. Taylor of Milton. Tomlinson of Winooski. Toof of St. Albans Town. Torrey Town. Walker Swanton. Wazazaka Berry City. Waters Evans of Charlotte. Wells of Brownington. White of Waitsfield. White of Bethel. Winter of Ludlow. Wood of Waterbury. Yakavoni of Morristown. Campbell of St. Johnsbury. Christie of Hartford. Galfetti of Berrytown. Hooper of Randolph. Hooper of Burlington. McCoy of Pulteney. Nielsen of Brandon. North of Ferrisburg. Parsons of Newberry. Powers of Waterford. Priestley of Bradford.
For purpose of explanation, member from Clarendon.
Madam Speaker, I believe requiring membership in a labor organization as a condition of hire will have a chilling effect on the workforce, as we have already received testimony. We have 2 vacancies for every applicant.
Member from Cabot.
Madam Speaker, my mother would have asked me not to.
Member from Bristol.
Madam Speaker, happy International Labor Day. As Mother Jones said, pray for the dead and fight like hell for the living.
Member from Williamstown.
While I support the ability for workers to organize, I do not agree that anybody should be compelled to become a member of a union to obtain employment. That is just a bridge too far.
Member from Essex.
I support Prop 3 because it defends the rights of Vermonters to choose whether to organize alongside their colleagues and coworkers. Prop 3 recognizes that workplaces where labor can organize are workplaces where power lies with the many, not with the money.
Member from Berkshire.
Madam Speaker, I voted no today for a simple reason. I cannot support taking away a worker's right to make the decision to join a union as a condition of their employment. I support union activity. I grew up in a union household, and I was a card-carrying member as a teenager. Unions have had a tremendous impact on our workplace throughout history, and they have served their purpose well. I simply do not support taking away a worker's freedom to decide.
Member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, as a former member of AFT Oregon Local GTFF 3544, on behalf of every working Vermonter and in support of workplace democracy, I vote yes. Solidarity forever.
Member from Putney.
Madam Speaker, my yes vote is from my maternal grandfather. He came to this country from Poland after World War I in the last pandemic, landed in Jersey City, New Jersey, and headed to the coal mines of West Virginia soon thereafter. The labor strife there over conditions and wages included the Blair Mountain Massacre, where Pinkertons for management opened fire on the miners' tent city. After that, they returned to Jersey City, but because of the lung cancer he contracted in the coal mines, he died the year I was born, and I never met him. I vote yes for him and all the workers striving for livable conditions and livable wages.
Member from Derby.
Madam Speaker, as dairy farmers, we are not allowed to collectively bargain or unionize. For this reason, I voted no.
And member from Starksboro.
Madam Speaker, I voted for Article 23, notwithstanding my reservations concerning a potential conflict with individual Vermonters' First Amendment rights of association. Now more than ever, protect the vulnerable, speak the truth, defend the rule of law. I believe and intend with my vote that the courts will construe the last phrase of Article 23 so as to reconcile the values of collective bargaining with the right of all citizens to decide whether or not to join an association, all while contributing their fair share to the work of the association. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member from Hartford.
Madam Speaker, may I vote, please?
You may.
Christie of Hartford.
Yes.
Member from Hartford.
Madam Speaker, may I explain my vote?
You may.
Thank you. We have a grave distribution of wealth problem in this country, with billionaires garnering exponentially more wealth each day at the expense of the hardest working members of our society. I'm proud that Vermont is giving power back to the people who earned it.
Member from Burlington.
Madam Speaker, may I explain my vote?
You may.
I vote yes in honor of my grandparents, all of the ancestors who struggled, and my coworkers in AFSCME Local 1674 at the Howard Center. Workers of the world unite.
Member from Fairfield.
Madam Speaker, may I explain my vote?
You may.
I support the right to join a union. I also support the right not to join. I do not support being compelled to join. However, I vote yes to give the people of Vermont the opportunity to decide for themselves.
Members, please listen to the results of your vote. Those voting yes, 125. Those voting no, 15. The ayes have it, and the constitutional proposal is adopted in concurrence. Next up is House Bill 505, which is an act relating to approval of the amendments to the Charter of the Town of Barre. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 505, an act relating to approval of amendments to the Charter of the Town of Barre.
Will the House please come to order? The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Members, we will now turn to Joint Senate Resolution 15, which is a joint resolution supporting Vermont's transgender and non-binary community and declaring Vermont's commitment to fighting discrimination and treating all citizens with respect and dignity. The resolution was treated as a bill and referred to the Committee on Judiciary which recommends that the resolution ought to be adopted in concurrence. The member from Essex Junction, Representative Dolan, will speak for the committee. Please listen to the second reading of the resolution.
JRS 15, Joint Resolution supporting Vermont's transgender and non-binary community and declaring Vermont's commitment to fighting discrimination and treating all citizens with respect and dignity.
Member from Essex Junction.
Madam Speaker, JRS 15 is a resolution that reaffirms Vermont's unwavering commitment to dignity, equality, and human rights for all people, especially our transgender and non-binary neighbors, friends, and family members. You can find the resolution on our legislative website, as it is not listed in full in today's calendar. At a time when too many states across this country are targeting gender diverse individuals with fear, misinformation, and discriminatory legislation, Vermont is once again choosing a different path, a path of compassion, truth, and justice. Let us be clear. Transgender and non-binary Vermonters are part of the fabric of our communities. They are our teachers, our nurses, our students, our colleagues. They deserve to live freely and authentically without fear of discrimination or exclusion. And this resolution makes clear that in Vermont, they are not only welcomed, they are valued. JRS 15 acknowledges our state's leadership in protecting civil rights. From laws ensuring access to education, housing, employment, and public accommodations without discrimination, to policies that allow Vermonters to affirm their identities and vital records, to legislation that safeguards the right to access gender-affirming care and shields families and providers from out-of-state political interference. Vermont has not only stood by its values, it has led. JRS 15 is not only a resolution, but a reaffirmation. Reaffirmation, thank you. That will not waver in our defense of equity, and a declaration that we will keep fighting to ensure every Vermonter, regardless of gender identity, is treated with the respect and humanity they deserve. With the adoption of JRS 15, we send a clear message. Vermont stands on the side of integrity. We stand on the side of justice, and we will always stand with our transgender and non-binary community members. Your House Judiciary Committee reviewed the resolution before us and passed it out favorably on a vote of 9-0. I urge this body to further support the resolution by voting yes on JRS 15.
The question is, shall the resolution be read a third time? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and third reading is ordered. Members, the final bill on our action calendar today is House Bill 218, which is an act relating to fiscal year 2026 appropriations from the Opioid Abatement Special Fund. The bill passed the Senate with a proposal of amendment that is printed in today's calendar. Member from Rutland City.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Senate's proposed amendment to H218 rectifies a typographical oversight. Your Committee on Human Services did not take a straw poll. Thank you.
The question is, shall the House concur in the Senate proposal of amendment? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have concurred in the Senate proposal of amendment. Members, that completes the orders of the day. The chair has an announcement. The following members are appointed to the Joint Legislative Justice Oversight Committee. The member from Springfield, Representative Emmons. The member from South Burlington, Representative Lalone. The member from Waterbury, Representative Wood. the member from Barry Town, Representative McFawn, and the member from Underhill, Representative Squirrel. Are there any further announcements? Member from Westminster.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to make an open announcement to let all members know if you might be interested in working with some young high school students this summer. We have 2 different days when we could use your help. Representative Marcotte and I have been liaisons for the Girls State and Boys State programs. Yes, they are named by gender, but all students are welcome to those programs. And what they do is it teaches high school students about the legislative process through an interactive, kind of like a role play activity. And it's going to be on the 25th and 26th of June. On the 25th, we'll have the Boys State program at Norwich, and the Girls State program will be at Vermont Tech. And then on the 26th, all the students will be together doing a mock session here in the chamber. So if anybody is interested in helping with either or both of those days, we would welcome you. You can check with myself or Representative Marcotte.
Member from Cornwall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just final reminder for tonight's panel discussion on immigration law and issues, 5 to 7, room 11. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Winooski.
Madam Speaker, today marks the start of Mental Health Awareness Month. And if anyone is interested, I will be leading a State House team of walkers in the annual NAMI walk in Burlington on May 17th. I'll send around an email to members, or you can reach out to me.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Bridport.
Madam Speaker, Tuesday next week, May 6th, is Homelessness Awareness Day in Vermont. And to start off the day at 9 a.m. in room 11, we'll have an opportunity for legislators to come and hear from our service providers, folks with lived experience, both currently or in the past. So I hope you can all come to the State House a little bit early and pop in for a little bit and just to hear from the people what it's like out there. I think when we're in the State House, we get a kind of limited view. So I hope you all will make some time, and I'll send out some reminders later on. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, member from St. Albans Town, will you please offer us a motion to adjourn until Friday, May 2nd at 9:30 a.m.
Madam Speaker, I make a motion that this body stands in adjournment until Friday, May 2nd, 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
Member from St. Albans Town moves that we adjourn until Friday, May 2nd at 9:30 a.m. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and this body stands in adjournment until tomorrow at 9:30.